Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick, and in this video here I'll go through the process of finding something to buy in Vietnam, right? If you want to live in Vietnam, which is what I want to do and what my wife wants to do. And we'll go through the whole process. So this channel is going to be a bit like a vlog, documenting how to buy something in Vietnam, where to buy it, you know, the process you go through, the pitfalls, all sorts of things, right? So let's just get one thing straight here from the beginning. This is not a channel about, you know, grubby backpackers spending 2 months in Da Nang or something like that, renting an apartment and then doing videos about, oh, how cheap it is and stuff like that. That's not what this is about. This is about, us moving, or at least trying to move to Vietnam. And first step on that journey is obviously purchasing something in Vietnam. Now, first of all, if you want to purchase something in Vietnam, that's not straightforward. And that's also why you have to be a little bit careful with all those videos out there where, you know, backpackers staying a few months on a tourist visa and saying all these great things. Like, it's not that simple, right? If you are a foreigner and you want to purchase a house, an apartment, land in Vietnam, it's not straightforward because, well, you can't. Not unless you invest a lot of money in the country, or you happen to be married to a Vietnamese partner, right? And in my case, that's exactly what's happened. My wife is Vietnamese, so obviously she is able to purchase anything in Vietnam, right? So we don't really have to worry about all the restrictions on foreigners when it comes to owning and purchasing land in Vietnam, or apartments or houses, whatever. My wife can just go ahead and do it. And of course, whatever we end up purchasing will be in her name, and that's just the way it is, right? So again, I'll show you pretty much our thought process on this channel here, what we have been doing, how we do it, and what we actually end up with. And you know, this is our first, attempt at buying something in Vietnam, and we have a budget of maximum 200,000 US dollars, and we would like to keep it probably around half of that, actually, if we can. So first of all, you gotta, figure out how much do I want to spend and how much can I spend, right? So of course that depends on you and your situation and whatever, you can do basically. But that's our situation, and that does mean that we can buy something in Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, which is where we really want to stay. But of course, that's one of the steps of this. First, you have to figure out, where do I want to purchase? Alright, so before we move on, I thought I would just give you a little context. Now, we do happen to live in Australia at the moment, just outside Sydney. And of course, what we want to do is to actually move to Vietnam. And the first step in that process is to purchase something in Vietnam. So like I mentioned earlier, citizenship is quite important here. So obviously we have Australian citizenship, and my wife also has Vietnamese citizenship, which again, just have to underline this, makes the buying procedure a lot easier. I say this because there's a lot of videos out there that's about, retiring in Vietnam or living there as a digital nomad, or, in quotes, living there as a backpacker. And all these videos you have to take with a grain of salt because, there is no retirement visa, for example, for Vietnam. So retiring there is pretty difficult to do. So that being said, let's have a look at the country itself. Now, Vietnam is really tall and skinny. And the northern part of Vietnam, where Hanoi sits, has 4 seasons. And the southern part, where Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City sits, is more of a tropical country. And we want tropical weather, so that means that we are only focusing on living somewhere around Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, if you will, in this video here. Of course, if you enjoy 4 seasons or you have family in the northern part of Vietnam, then of course the north will probably be a better pick for you. But for me and my wife, Saigon is the pick. So I'll do a separate video on why we chose Saigon, but suffice to say for now that it's just the place that we want to live because of the weather and the family connections that we have there. All right, so we've narrowed it down to Ho Chi Minh City and or Saigon, whatever you prefer. I'm gonna call it Saigon from now on. And we have decided that we don't want to live any more than an hour and a half away from District 1, away from the center, right? So that's roughly the circle I've drawn here on the map. So anywhere within this circle, you should be able to make it to the center of Ho Chi Minh City in an hour and a half. The reasoning for that is that we don't have to go to work. This is going to be primarily a holiday house, at least for the time being. So, we don't have to worry about commutes or anything like that. So speaking of commutes, you might have heard that Saigon has just opened their first metro line, and that is correct. So of course, if you want to future-proof your purchase, you should buy something relatively close to the metro lines or the upcoming metro lines. Only one line is active right now, but there will be a number of them coming out. And the areas that we have thought about actually aren't close to the metro lines or the upcoming metro lines, because again, it doesn't matter that much right now. It's going to be primarily a holiday home. But of course, you have to agree with yourself, right? Do I want to buy something close to a metro line and future-proof it that way? But of course, you are going to pay an extra premium for that. So again, it's up to you if you want a cheaper place to live or you want to future-proof it and pay a little bit more, or perhaps a lot more. So although we would love to live right in District 1 or District 4, we have decided that we would rather stay about an hour away from the center, simply because there's more peace and quiet out there. And of course, if you want to go in to District 4 to Vincan Street or something like that and eat all the good food, it's only an hour away, right? So we have been looking at, projects around Ho Chi Minh City or around Saigon, and there's quite a few to choose from. So these are, little cities on their own where everything is included. You get pools, you get infrastructure, you get bus stations, right? For example, you get supermarkets and schools and parks, and of course, plenty of pools to swim in. And that's what we wanted. And really, within that 1.5 hour journey from the center of Saigon, we, identified 3 of these projects here that we think would be interesting to look at and potentially buy something in. Alright, so the first area that we kind of aimed in on is called Vinhomes Grand Park. It's in District 9, just on the border of Saigon. And it is quite far from the city center. It's an hour and 15 minutes by bus, but they are building a new highway out there, so that should improve in the coming years, right? So the area is a typical project in Vietnam, right? With high rises and townhouses and villas, all sorts of things. And of course, all kinds of luxuries. Plenty of pools, plenty of parks, supermarkets and shopping centers. So this is definitely an option if you want to get something that's not too expensive, not too far from Saigon, and also very modern. Alright, so the second option is called Misuki Park, and as you can see on the map, it's actually quite close to Ho Chi Minh. It's only about 45 to 30 minutes from the District 1, which makes it a lot more expensive than the other 2 options I'm going to show you, but it's just in case that you really want something that's, closer to the city than the other 2 options, like for example, Vinhomes Grand Park. Now, Misuki Park isn't as big as Vinhomes Grand Park, and it doesn't have as many amenities, but it is a lot closer to Ho Chi Minh or Saigon, so you don't really need that much stuff, right? Alright, so the last area that we're considering is called Border Point Riverside Community. And this is the furthest away from Ho Chi Minh City. It's an hour, 20 minutes by car, and it's doable. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And the infrastructure is actually better than Vinhomes Grand Park, because you can see here on the map, it's right next to a big road, and getting to Ho Chi Minh is actually quite easy. I'll do more details on this and comparing the 3 of these, of course, in other videos. But I'd say that Border Point, although it looks further away, is actually easier to get to than the Vinhomes. So Border Point is a huge community. It doesn't look too big on this map here, but it is in fact humongous. And not all of it has been built yet, but what has been built so far is of very good quality. It's the same builder that has built Misuki Park, and it looks phenomenal, really. So you can see it's on a little peninsula here, surrounded by a river on 3 sides, which makes it very, very peaceful. Waterpoint has all the amenities you could possibly want, all the way from a marina to supermarkets, shopping centers, bus station, and you can buy apartments, you can buy townhouses, you can buy villas, you can buy double villas, and you can buy extremely expensive, huge villas, right? It has everything, really. So that gives you a bit of background story here to how we're going to purchase something in Vietnam, and I have shown you the options that we have ended up with on our short list, right? Of course, yours could be different, but this is what we're looking for. So in future videos, I'll go into more detail about each area, and of course, I'll let you know which one we actually ended up buying. Alright guys, thanks for watching. This was pretty much the video, and of course I'll keep uploading as we go through the process and as we actually move in and as we actually purchase fridges or whatever, and we actually start living there. So don't forget to subscribe and keep up with our adventures.